Today we're looking at Task 1. In particular, we're looking at task achievement in an overview. Now, this is a constant problem that we always see in Task 1, and it's a reason why most people don't get a good score. So we're going to fix that today. By the way, if you need help on your IELTS journey, please contact us. We are here to help in any way we can. We have courses, we have one-to-one lessons, we even have free feedback for you. So please get in contact with us. So here we have a pretty common task. We have 3 categories: holidays, clothes, electronic equipment. And we have different age groups and what percentage of their total spending they spend on these 3 categories. This is in the past, in 2009. So remember, when we look at an overview, okay, we're looking at a few, well, we have to mark it by the criteria. Now, when there is no overview in a task or no relevant overview, you can't get above a 5 for task achievement. What does it mean when we say no relevant overview? Well, sometimes people write an overview like the data was different, or the data changed, or the figures changed a lot. Now, that's not a relevant overview because it doesn't relate to the task. So if you write something that you could write for any task like that, it's a 5. If you do try an overview and it is relevant, that means it does refer to something in the chart, you can get up to a 6. But if you want to get a 7 or more, you have to write what we call a clear overview. You have to refer to the categories, and the most important part is you have to identify the main trends or differences. Now, we use trends when we're talking about a time period because things change. If there's no time period, like this graph, we refer to them as differences. So I have to mention the main differences or trends. So let's look at an overview for this graph that was written by a candidate, and you tell me whether you think this is a 5, 6, or 7 level overview. There is an overview there, but it is relevant because it does refer to a category and it refers to age groups. Overall, the more money spent in holiday by 60 age group and less was in clothes by 70. Now, there are grammar and vocabulary errors here, but this would suggest something around a 6. But what this person has done is what most people do. They've just highlighted the biggest number and the smallest number in the graph. We can't do that, okay? That is always going to limit you to a 6 at the most. So what can we refer to in this graph to get us above a 6? So let's look at some ideas here. And I want to mention there are many possible comments. You don't have to mention lots and lots, but you do have to cover the categories, and you should be referring to the age groups at least generally. So one thing we can say is that people in all of the age groups spent the most on holidays, and people around retirement age spent the most. So you can see here that the black bars are the largest in every age group, and you can see that around 60 to 69 is the highest, but also just before and just after are also very high. So we can say people around retirement age, around the 60, spent the most. Now we have to refer to younger age groups, and we also have to refer to clothes and electronic equipment. So what we can say is that younger people spent more on clothes and less on electronic equipment. But this was reversed in the older people. The older people spent more on electronic equipment and less on clothes. Now, that would be enough to get for a very, very good overview at the 9 level even. I'm going to mention one more thing. If I do a little bit of mathematics, what I can notice here is that if I add the 3 numbers for every age group, I get something between 18 and 22% for all of them. So I could say something like all of the age groups spend around 1/5 of their total spending on the 3 categories. This is not necessary, but this is just an example of a really nice overview comment. Overall, people in all age groups spent the most on holidays, with people around retirement age outlaying the highest amounts. Younger people spent more on clothes and electronic equipment, but this was opposite for older people. For all age brackets, expenditure on the 3 categories accounted for around 1/5 of total spending. We don't have many words in English for spend, as in spend money. I've used a few different ways though. I've of course used the verb spent. I've also used a verb called outlay. Outlay on means to spend money on. That's a really good one to learn, by the way. I've also used the nouns expenditure and spending so that I can avoid just using the same two verbs over and over. Hope you got something out of that today.